It's probably one of the easiest ones to call. It does happen. We go by another acronym here called mishaps. These are all plays or penalties that are simultaneous with the snap. They might not be a penalty necessarily while the offense is lining up, but at the time of the snap, it will become a penalty if one of these things happen. And on these, you throw your flag up in the air as the line judge. Most of the time, it's the line judge making this call. Throw your flag up high and proud and just let it go and don't signal the play dead. We'll enforce the play after the play is over. They stand for mishaps. M is illegal motion. So during a football play, the entire offense has to become set still for at least 1 second before they can snap the ball. If the offense is, after they become set, they can motion, which means that they can move backwards and around the parallel to the line of scrimmage. That's fine as long as one person's doing it. They cannot motion forwards towards the line of scrimmage. If they're motioning forwards towards the line of scrimmage, if they're moving forwards towards the line of scrimmage, when the ball is snapped, that's an illegal motion penalty. They can't be doing that. That's just one arm like this. If they have 2 people motioning at the same time when the ball is snapped, it's an illegal shift. So at any time, everybody on the offense is shifting. Once they break the huddle, we're still in a shift sort of procedure. Everybody's shifting until they all become set. At that time, somebody might move around, they can motion at that time, but as soon as the second player is motioning, as soon as 2 players are motioning at the same time, everybody has to become set again. So once 2 players motion at the exact same time, everybody has to become set. If that does not happen, they're still in a shift, and it will be a penalty as soon as they snap the ball if they don't become set. That's a legal shift. We got 2 players in motion. Legal substitution. Let's say, for instance, the player leaving the wrong side of the field. Let's say he's actually leaving the correct side of the field. And the offense snaps the ball before the player leaves the field, but he's still running off the right side of the field. Okay, that's going to be, again, another penalty in the air. It's a legal substitution, and the way I remember this one is sub sandwich is going to give me heartburn, so I keep around my heart there. That is the signal for that. Now, the difference between legal substitution and legal participation, if there's too many men on the field and that additional player participates in the game, that's a legal participation. If somebody from the out of bounds runs in to participate, that's a legal participation. There's too many men on the field. Why are there so many men on the field? I don't know. That's what our penalty is for that. Having fewer than the minimum number of players on the line, that is, what is that, H? Yeah, it's H. That won't matter anymore. A couple years ago, we had to have like 4 players on the line. Now we only have to have 1 player on the line, and that's a snapper. We can't have a play without a snapper, so it's not. Don't worry about that. A, all players 5 yards in bounds. So during a given play, everybody has to come at least 5 yards inbounds into the huddle. That deters the offensive wide receivers from staying all the way on the outside where the defense might not be able to see them, for instance. The only situation where that's not a thing is if the defender sees them and starts covering him, then that'd be perfectly fine. They don't necessarily have to do it then, but if they don't, if the defense doesn't see the person and they haven't moved in 5 yards, then it's a penalty. I don't really know the signal for that. Let's just go with the rollout, legal procedure. And the snap received under 2 yards. The quarterback in flag football needs to be at least 2 yards away from our snapper to receive the ball. They don't necessarily have to be 2 yards away from the line of scrimmage, just 2 yards from the snapper, but most of the time they're going to be at least 2 yards back. That's just another illegal snap penalty. And that'll be simultaneous with the snap, let the play go, and call it later. Live ball penalties. So those are all penalties that happen with dead balls, or what happened at the snap. These are all live ball penalties that happen during a play. We have illegal screen blocking, also known as illegal contact. Legal forward pass, roughing the passer, pass interference, OPI and DPI. We have flag guarding flag belt, and that's a huge thing that a lot of people don't know, that if you watch NFL and NCAA, but flag guarding is a huge difference between flag football and regular football. And then unsportsmanlike. Legal screen blocking, also known as legal contact. when a defender steps into or extends himself into the path of an opponent to cause contact. Let's say, you know what, let's watch this video here. Peyton, if you want to click on the video. This will give us some insight on this. Okay, so this is proper technique. The offensive guy is not getting in the way, or he's getting in the way, but he's not making any contact. Every single situation here, there's some sort of contact being made by the offensive player. In this case, the offensive player moved his elbow out into the path of the defensive player. He can't do that. In this case, he moved his knee out. Also can't move your knee or your elbow into the path of the defensive player. Same sort of thing. He put his body into the defender as he was passing. I didn't see what happened there. It looked like he just put his arms out.
That's defense.
Oh, is that defensive?
Yeah.
I see. Defense, offense, neither of them can make illegal contact. As the defense, you can't bull rush the offensive guy. You've got to get around him. As the offense, you can stand in the way of the guy. You can move to the direction he's standing in the way of the guy. Hey, Peyton, you want to, oh yeah. You can get out of this, yeah. Okay. Be the defender, Peyton. Alright, drag it around. As the offense, I can do this. Before draft defender. Alright, I can't do this. I can't do anything like stick my knee out to block him, or stick my elbow out, get him. I can't rush my body into him either. I can only get in his way and sort of back up. As the defender, he can't use his arms like that to get around me. He's just got to run around me somehow. He can't use his chest to get around me. He's got just to run around me. He can't contact his body into mine. A lot of times you're going to have to see who initiates the contact, because a lot of times there's going to be contact on contact. Somebody's going to be the one who starts the contact, and you're going to have to use your best judgment to determine who initiated that contact and who needs to be penalized.
Can you, like, as a wide receiver, if you don't have the ball, can you, like, block downfield? Like,
As long as you're not contacting the defender.
So it could be like a kind of like a screen.
Sort of, as long as you're not contacting the defender, yeah. You can stand in the way, it's fine, but you can't use your arms and block.
So as a defensive lineman, you can't like swim or rip?
As long as you're not contacting him. So if rip involves contact, so you can't do that. Yeah.
So is the penalty let's say the wide receiver is trying to stay in the way and the defender like pushes him out the way to get the
Defender pushes him out of the way.
receiver?
What do you think? Illegal contact. Flag football is a non-contact sport. There's contact, it's penalty.
So is there any leeway at all, like if you accidentally brush by him trying
If you
to...
brush by him, I can see. I mean, it's a real judgment sort of thing. If you know the defender meant to hit him, then yeah, it's a penalty. But if he didn't necessarily mean to do it, but it was kind of an accident, it's a judgment call. Use your best judgment. Any other questions? That's legal contact. Blockers must keep their arms to their side or behind their back. Legal forward pass. So there's only one legal forward pass per down, same as normal football. What's different than normal football and flag football, this is a big rule that teams do not know, is I can do this. I'm the quarterback, I run past the line of scrimmage, I run back, I can now still throw the ball. As long as I am behind the offensive line of scrimmage, I can run all the way to the 5-yard line, come all the way back to behind the line of scrimmage, and I can throw the ball, and it's perfectly fine.
As a male though, once you run across the line of scrimmage, isn't that a penalty?
Incorrect, yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yep, this is just, for the sake of male or female, this is normal. Yeah, the male pass going through the line of scrimmage restrictions only do with correct, which we only have 12 teams compared to.
Is it the same for flea flickers? Like you can run 5-10 yards to the ball back, and they can still throw it?
Yep. So yeah, there's only be one legal forward pass per down. There can be 100 backwards passes in a given down if you like.
So like if you, it's not just a quarterback too, like if you run the ball and your running back runs
Yeah,
2 yards, comes
whoever.
back and throws it.
The player, yeah, an offensive player can pass the ball. Anyone can, the snapper can, as long as there's only one offensive, or one forward pass per down. The defense intercepts the ball, they can't throw the ball forward. That's obvious, but it has to be said. Backwards passes. Our signal for backwards passes, usually the line judges have got the signal because they can see it best. But if they throw the ball backwards, the line judge or whichever referee, whichever official is on play, you're going to throw your arm in the backwards direction and yell back as loud as you can, so people know that was a backwards pass. So the offensive players and the defensive players all know that that was a backwards pass, and it can still be a forward pass. Ball is dead as soon as it hits the ground on a backwards lateral. Once that ball hits the ground, it's automatically dead. There are no fumbles. We don't want a situation where everybody's jumping after a loose fumble, so we just don't have fumbles. Same thing with the pass. Once the ball hits the ground on a pass, it's dead. The only instance where the ball hits the ground and it's not dead is on a punt where nobody's touched it yet and it's still rolling. As soon as somebody touches it and it touches the ground, it's dead. Handing the ball forwards or backwards is legal. Doesn't matter where you are on the field. If you hand it forwards or backwards, as long as there is no space in between, as long as it's not a pass, it's fine forwards if you hand it forwards in flag football. And it's always fine if you hand it backwards. Yes?
Let's say you try to lateral it back and it hits the ground, is the play, like, is it gonna be spotted where the ball hit the ground?
Yes, it's gonna be spotted right where the ball hit the ground. So if you lateral it back into the end zone, it's a safety. And it's also out of bounds wherever it went out of bounds. So if you lateral it out of bounds, it's wherever it crossed.
If the offense fumbles, do they still retain possession?
Mm-hmm. Assuming it's not fourth down. And if you lateral the ball back and defense catches the ball, defense's ball, and they're still playing with it. So, and the signal for a legal forward pass is an arm behind the back, and it is a loss of down as well. Roughing the passer. So, the defense can never contact the quarterback unless they're going to grab the flag belt. Roughing the passer penalty, nearly no matter what. Let's say I'm throwing the ball and I release the ball and he comes up and he tries to swat the ball out of my hand. This is the ball, hits my hand. It's a 10-yard roughing the passer penalty. Contacting the thrower from the start of the throw up until the completion of the follow through. Whenever we are trying to protect the quarterback as much as possible, it's an automatic penalty if any contact is made to the quarterback. The only situation where it wouldn't be an automatic roughing the passer penalty is if, let's say I'm the quarterback, I throw it, I see the dude coming, and I like push him. That's the only situation where that wouldn't be it. It would be a penalty on the quarterback actually, because he's making the contact, he's usually pushing. Defense must make a definitive effort to avoid contacting the quarterback, both during the throw and until he or she moves to join the play. Lots of players will, when their quarterback is throwing the ball, lots of defenders will try to swat that ball out. If they hit the ball while the ball is in the hand of the quarterback, it's a penalty because the ball is an extension of the hand of the quarterback. You can't contact. However, if the quarterback had released the ball and, I don't know, it gets swatted out of the air and there's no contact with the quarterback, that's fine. Usually does not happen, very rarely happens, but everybody tries it. Quarterback must throw the ball, otherwise the penalty is illegal contact. If the quarterback gets hit, doesn't throw the ball, it's illegal contact instead of roughing the passer. The difference between roughing the passer and illegal contact, with roughing the passer, it's an automatic first down. With illegal contact, it's not. Pass interference. Ball's in the air, somebody contacts somebody downfield, pass interference. Contact interferes with an eligible receiver who is beyond a scrimmage line during a passing play. For offensive pass interference, if there's ever any contact downfield throughout the given play from the offense to the defense, and then the ball is passed, doesn't matter if the ball's in the air, as long as the ball is passed during that down, it's offensive pass interference. You could also call legal contact. It really doesn't matter because it's the same enforcement. It's 10 yards and there's no loss of down or no automatic first down with pass interference. So as long as you see that there was some illegal contact, you're good to go. A lot more people, a lot more players will understand pass interference though if you say that. Defensive pass interference, after the ball's been thrown, defensive guy can't touch the offensive guy or contact them or restrict their path to the ball. 10-yard penalty, DPI.
10-yard penalty from the spot of foul or the line of
We'll go
scrimmage?
over this in a little bit, but during a passing play, it's going to be the spot of enforcement is the previous spot. We'll go over that a little bit. Face guarding, when you put your hand in somebody's face to block their vision from the ball, is now legal. Is now fine to do that. It was illegal last year, it was illegal in Avery, it was illegal in high school last year, it was illegal in flag football last year. It's perfectly legal this year. Flag guarding, the act of obstructing the flag belt, disallowing the defender the ability to pull the runner's flags. This is going to be the most common penalty you guys get. As a running back or as a runner with the ball, I cannot guard my flags. I cannot restrict the opponent to get the flags. This is a normal running motion. If somebody's trying to grab my flags, this is an illegal play because I am restricting their ability to grab my flags because my arm's in the way. We like to tell our runners to run like this so that way they don't have their arms down there. Serious. That's what we do. Any sort of restricting access to the flags, lowering your shoulder, lowering the elbow. What else is listed here? Swatting the defender, kind of doing a stiff arm sort of thing to get him out of the way. All flag guarding. And then holding the ball and flag ball as well. Flag guarding is going to be something that you will see a lot. It's sort of a clipping motion for anybody who knows football. That's a signal for that. Defender always has to have access to the flags. Anytime the offense blocks it, it's flag guarding. Even if they're not necessarily going for it, if they're in the area and he's flag guarding, it's a penalty.
Can I have the ball flanked till we turn around? Oh, no.
As long as you're not guarding the flags, if your arm is all the way up here, flags are unprotected here, so it's fine.
You say it's flag guarding even if they don't have the ball?
No. Runner, it's just for the runner, yeah.
So, say like the offensive players, like, can they stiff arm their chest?
Nope, that's illegal contact for the
Alright.
offense.
That's what I thought.
Is the ball dead where they like how they block off the flag?
Nope, for that instance, we're gonna throw your flag at the spot of the foul. We're gonna let the play go on, we're gonna see what happens with the rest of the play. After the play is over, most likely the offense will go down another 20 yards and get down. We're gonna mark that penalty from the spot of the foul, it's gonna be 10 yards from that spot, and we're gonna see whatever it is third down or whatever it will be at.
So the offensive player flag guards, but the defender still is able to pull the flag belt. Is that a foul or no?
We're gonna call that no, it's not a foul.
Okay.
The defender was able to grab the belt without it being, he was able to grab the belt, so there was no, we're just gonna not call that foul.
Okay, cool.
If the flags were ever to fall off of a player, or like if they're pitching it back and then their flags get taken like right after they do it, what happens to them?
If a player's flag belt pops off in the middle of play for no particular reason, is that what you're asking?
Yeah, either that or like right after he throws it, the flags.
If that happens, it goes to one-hand touch. You have to yell out as the referee or official, one-hand touch. His flag belt fell off, whatever. If he's still the runner, if he's running and his flag belt falls off without anybody grabbing the flag belt, it's one-hand touch. If he pitches it back and then somebody grabs his flags, play on, it's nothing in that particular instance because he doesn't have the ball. If somebody grabs the flag belt without somebody having the ball, it's usually illegal contact. In that instance, I would say it's not illegal contact because he just had the ball.
Yeah.
Normally it's illegal contact. Unsportsmanlike conduct. This is, I hate to say obvious, but kind of obvious. You'll know it when you see it. Disrespectful behavior exhibited by players or non-players. Stuff that will automatically result in unsportsmanlike conduct penalty, and this is the mechanic for unsportsmanlike conduct. Spiking the ball or kicking the ball, unsportsmanlike, kicking the ball, not like a punt. Spiking the ball after a touchdown, it's going to be an automatic unsportsmanlike conduct. Taunting, illegal equipment, if they have their flag belt wrapped up and tied in a knot, that's illegal equipment. That's going to be an ejection as well in that particular case if they get caught. Swearing at either officials or the opposite team, use your best judgment on that. Deception or unfair acts. Derogatory comments directed towards an official or opponent, that could result in automatic ejection too. It all depends on what is being said and what the circumstances are. We can eject a player after 2 unsportsmanlike conducts on 1 player in a game, ejection symbol is just that. Make sure you get a supervisor in there immediately if you're going to eject somebody. Flagrant unsportsmanlike conduct such as unnecessary roughness and fighting also results in instant ejection. Very rarely will you have to instantly eject somebody without any like earlier stuff happening. So the supervisor will keep an eye on the game if it's getting chippy.
So like if a player like was on offense and they were like about to catch the ball and they dropped a pass and they swore, but it wasn't at anybody, is that still a penalty or no?
I would say no. It depends on also how loud it is. If he screams it, maybe go talk to him for a second and say, hey, tone it down. But I think it'll be fine. Yeah.
Spiking allowed for touchdowns?
No.
No touchdown celebrations?
Go to, depends on the celebration. You cannot by spiking, I mean post touchdown. So during a celebration, you can't spike the ball. If they want to spike the ball to stop the clock on third down or something like that, I didn't know if that's what you meant. No. But yeah, you can't spike the ball during a touchdown celebration. I think that's it.
That's it? Cool.
Oh, question.
Is it spiking if they like, after they score, if they just like leave the ball in the end zone? Like are they required to like bring it to one
No,
of
they
the
can leave
refs
the
when
ball.
they
As
score?
long as they don't Gronkowski it and leave it out. Fine.
Yeah, it's, use your judgment, I mean, if there's something to disrespect the game, disrespect you, disrespect their opponents, no doubt, throw your flag in the air, put in the sportsmanlike conduct. That's a tool you guys are gonna use as officials. We don't expect you, they say, hey, F you, we don't expect you to say, F you too. No, you throw unsportsmanlike conduct, you're wearing a neon officiating shirt. That's what we give you, so you don't have to say that, okay? If you do say that, it's not gonna be a good thing for you, so. Who played in high school? Who played in high school? Awesome, so one of the things you can do in high school, right, Zach, you can't really do in flag football, like hit people, that's not allowed. So once you see stuff like that, once you see that contact, just throw your flag, get together with the officials, we'll figure out what it's on. Alright, we're gonna go out to the rec fields, yeah, I'll be needing those flags, we'll be throwing them out there. We're gonna go out to the rec fields across the street, you can bring your stuff, and we're gonna